Hello, everyone. I'm Sonia Thompson, Community Content Manager for SupplySide 365. I want to thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Health Condition Corner. This time, the topic is skin health, and the expert who's going to be digging into all the details, not just scratching the surface of the skin health, is the herbal pharmacist, David Foreman. David, I couldn't resist the pun. Tell us how you're doing today.
I'm just curious, was that pun intended or did that just
Oh,
really
yes.
just happen?
Totally intended. You know
Oh
me well.
man. All right. Well, I'm doing well if you can't tell. And I just realized over my shoulder there's a stuffed green M&M waving at everybody. I don't know if they can see that or not. Is it, you see it? Like my little on my sofa behind me. Ah, so, whatever. It's not an advertisement for M&Ms, I promise.
With the herbal pharmacist.
Yeah. All right.
I
You want
know
me to
that
rock it? Go
you have
ahead.
a lot of information. I know that you've got a bunch of stuff to cover in the next 30 minutes. But before you begin, folks, if you have a question for David, please type it into the discussion thread. If we don't have time to cover the question during the live session, David will still chime in the discussion and answer it after, provide you with some feedback. And with that, it's time to turn it over to you, David. Take it away.
Thanks, Sonia. Um, I will reply to those questions with a little bit of rebellion. I'm just warning everybody. So, thanks for taking time out of your day. As we've said, in my first slide shows you here, today's health condition corner is dealing with skin health and the whole hot topic of beauty from within. Before I get into my topic, I want to remind everybody that I think this is probably our sixth, at least, of these health condition corners. The topics have been very random, from weight management to stress, etc. So if you like what you hear and see today and you're interested in what other topics were out there, uh, please use your Google search engine or whatever your preferred method. I believe they're also found on the LinkedIn Supply Side Network page, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, let's rock and roll. I do have a lot to cover today. So as I always start out with, like, getting a little bit inside the numbers, just to give everybody this half a clue as to why this topic is being covered as part of my health condition corner. First, as you can see, is worldwide or globally at any one time, 900 million people have some sort of skin thing going on. I personally have a couple of skin things going on at one time. Don't worry, don't get creeped out, but they're nothing really freaky. I've got a cut on my leg that looks like it was getting a little sketchy looking, and a almost 60-year-old adult case of acne. Go figure that one out. which I did go to the health food store before this webinar today and pick up a few things to address it from the inside out. And then we can see here the five most common health conditions for skin make up over 80%. I'm not going to read slides to you. I'm limited on times, but you can see which of these they are. Today's topic is not going to, and I'm going to re-stress this because I do work closely with Informa on my health condition corner, is that we're not going to make any claims towards any disease state or health condition. This is a very, we'll call it, generic way of looking at skin health. And then obviously, if somebody has these conditions, getting that skin to be as healthy as we can from the inside out will bode well for whatever it is. So we are not going condition specific today. And we're not talking about external. So real quick, I love to get into what a system looks like. And for those people who don't realize, and some references may actually lay out the skin in more layers than what I have listed here, the epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous. We can see that, the epidermis and what its effects are, basically producing the new cells. It impacts melanin, etc. The dermis. This is where we really start getting into a lot of where this is actually where we really get into the beauty from within, the dermis and subcutaneous thing. The skin cells grow from the outside in, not the out. I'm sorry, inside out, not outside in. So we see some common buzzwords here like collagen, elastin, etc. We can also see that the subcutaneous layer, this is more so for protection. It's where fat gets stored. And this area is full of mostly collagen and fat. Sorry, my buttons aren't all working the way I want them today. Again, this pun is intended, Sonia. Skin beneath the surface, it couldn't be more appropriate. I've used my tree in so many presentations, but today, come on now, let's talk about a beauty from within. And now we're talking about, beneath the surface. In this case, I listed out the majority of things I'm going to discuss today. The only one I'm not going to talk about with regards to skin health, and these are, by the way, the underlying causes of skin problems, whether it's speeding up how old you look to developing one of the conditions I might have mentioned earlier. So these are the underlying risk factors that contribute to. So poor sleep, the gut-skin axis. There's actually even references to the gut-brain-skin axis playing an important role in that. And I think that's really more so because of the brain with regards to stress and sleep, but that's a whole nother health condition corner for another day. But these are the areas that I'm going to focus on today. The only one I'm not going to speak about is really regarding allergies. Allergies is a whole nother situation. Then we're starting to talk about more so the immune system. We're talking about leaky gut and a whole other realm of possibility. So we can see these are the things that contribute to whether or not your skin is healthy. So dehydration, sun exposure, stress, pollution, nutrient depletions. By the way, nutrient depletion and diet, I'm considering the same thing. So you can have a really crappy diet contributing to your skin health issue, or you could just have, you could just be nutrient depleted for whatever reason. So those two get combined. And then hormone imbalance is kind of washed across all of these little categories as well. So let's talk about the first area I'm going to focus on, which is oxidative stress. If you're not familiar with that, another way of terming it is free radical damage. The little box on the left that I'm just realizing as I blew it up is a little blurry, but these are what I like to call the mutant oxygen molecules that cause oxidative stress. We can see that oxidative stress triggers the production of these three enzymes: elastase, hyaluronidase. Boy, that's a mouthful for anybody to say. Thank God it's afternoon here on the East Coast. And then the MMP, not MVP. That would be Tom Brady or whatever. But no, these are three enzymes that are produced in larger quantities than we perhaps want. And those three enzymes contribute to the degradation of elastin, hyaluronic acid, and collagen, which are really the three main components that we probably should be focusing on with regards to a healthy skin layer, whether it's subcutaneous or epidermis, actually across all three layers, we'll say. So we can also see that oxidative stress will provoke the skin into this lipid peroxidation. That's a scientific mumbo jumbo for, it's not really mumbo jumbo, it's scientific terminology for you're basically causing your fats to become damaged, and this causes different types of DNA damage. When we damage DNA, we then get abnormal cell production, and we all probably know what happens when you get abnormal cell production. Things don't grow the way they're supposed to, and it leads to a lot of other unhealthy challenges. So with regards to discussing some ingredients for oxidative stress for skin, keep in mind, I try to keep these webinars as generic as possible when you are going to use any one of the ingredients I mentioned for oxidative stress when you're formulating for success in your skin product. Look for the ingredient that actually has the science with regards to the topic. So these are some of the ingredients I came across that actually are powerful antioxidants. They neutralize that reactive oxygen species, ROS, or that oxidative stress. But with regards to skin health, we all know there's a ton of antioxidants out there, but some actually have clinical research showing that they are not perhaps, but in my case, because I did the research, are beneficial for skin health. So we can see amla, which is really popular in Ayurvedic medicine, astaxanthin, fucoxanthin. Holommel is actually a trademarked ingredient. It's a combination of two ingredients. And I'm not going to get too much. I'm not being sponsored or endorsed to promote a brand, but in this case, this is actually two ingredients in one. So in this case, I actually listed the brand. They actually had some really cool science. I was pretty impressed. Just learned about the ingredient in the last couple of weeks while I was preparing for this. Maritime pine bark, red orange complex. This is another clinically substantiated branded ingredient, showing actually powerful effect in our topic today of beauty from within, and especially with regards to oxidative stress and skin health. And last but not least, probably the mother of all antioxidants that we all hear and talk about, I feel like in the industry, is the turmeric or curcumin. Again, not every ingredient that's available, but these are the one, and also these are the ingredients that actually have clinical substantiation with regards to oxidative stress and skin health. So again, there's a lot of other antioxidants on the market, but they may not necessarily have clinical research showing their skin. And yeah, there probably are other antioxidants out there with skin research, but I don't have 4 hours to do these. So here's what I narrowed down or pared down to what I feel like are the hot ones. So the next thing, remember I said I would talk about diet / nutrient depletions all in one category. So nutritional solutions. I pulled these key areas: essential fatty acids, flavonoids, minerals, peptides, and vitamins off of the Linus Pauling section of Oregon State University. So I can't claim the fame on this one, but these were the nutrients that they had listed, which are key, excuse me, for skin health and healthy skin. So essential fatty acids, I'm not going to discriminate. If you've got a solid omega-3, whatever source, omega-6 in this case, they all seem to provide different health benefits for healthy skin. We know essential fatty acids can't be made by the body. They have to come from an outside source. So supplementing, I can tell you that when I started taking 3 to 4 grams, and sometimes I even take 5 grams of omega-3s per day, I could see my skin really change. I tell people I'm really 85. I only look 59. And I always say it's because of my EFAs that I consume, whether it's through a dietary supplement or in my diet. Flavonoids, you can go back to that whole list I just covered. The majority of those ingredients I talked about on the previous slide with regards to oxidative stress are actually fit into that flavonoid category. 2 primary minerals, zinc and selenium, are very skin-centric, we'll call it. But the research also shows that all of the essential minerals do contribute to skin health. And it sort of goes back to, you really should never take just an amino acid by itself, because they work together. Same thing with minerals fall that way. Vitamins also fall that way. So in the case of minerals, in my case, definitely focusing perhaps on maybe a little bit higher dose of zinc and selenium, but making sure you have a balance of all the other minerals to go hand in hand. Peptides, which I'm going to talk about a little further down the road, but peptides are when you have 2 or more amino acids combined together. Probably the most common peptide now, or peptides used in our industry for skin health, fall into the collagen peptides, which I'll talk about collagen in a few minutes. I'll do a little deeper dive. And of course, vitamins A, C, D, and E. And last but not least, since I know this is supposed to be targeted more towards R&D, perhaps let's make it fun. Maybe some of these beauty from within products should incorporate foods that actually fit into these categories. So on the right, I think maybe using a berry powder along with whatever other ingredients you're going to combine for a beauty from within product would be a great idea. Granted, I don't think there's an appetizing salmon supplement product, so maybe that was not a good image here, but you guys get the idea. Let's try to make some functional foods with these ingredients, but also that those functional foods contain those ingredients on top of it. Hydration, okay, so that is not what I want to look like. That's also elephant skin, if anybody wonders what that image is. It actually looks like a desert with that's super dehydrated, but hydration plays a huge role. So in not just water, and you'll see on the right, we'll get into some of that, but with regards to hydration, inadequate hydration causes that dulling of the skin. Like a grape, if you have a grape that's fully hydrated, it has a very smooth outside. But when it slowly dries out to become a raisin, we see those lines and wrinkles get deeper and deeper and deeper. So that's why inadequate hydration. And we can rehydrate a grape. I don't know if you've ever had your grapes start to get shrivelly in your refrigerator. You know what I do? I take them off the stem and I wash them and I put them in a container and I fill the container with purified water. And within an hour or so, they're like flowers. They bloom again and they plump back up. So we also see lines, decreased elasticity. That's more prevalent. Obviously, the older we get, elasticity disappears. We get more cracks and crevices beyond crow's feet. Blemishes, of course, will increase. Maybe that's why my adult acne happened. Now that I think about it, I got severely dehydrated a week ago. Our heat index was 113. I was out golfing for 5 hours and definitely did not rehydrate. So I ended up with a couple of pimples. Not a fun thing. I'm just saying. Though it did make me feel like a young guy again, but at the same time, I don't like to look at that stuff. And then your pores actually become more visible. So if you're wanting to address any of these things for your consumer or for your personal use, hydration is a great way to go. We can see some of the popular ingredients on the right. I am going to do a deeper dive on the collagen peptides, ceramides, etc., and hyaluronic acid. I'm going to cover those three a little bit more in detail because I feel like those are three of the big buzzwords. I think those are three areas in which consumers are really looking. But here's the little rub on this. There's a lot of cool science or clinical research showing that not all prebiotics, you're going to have to do a little deeper dive, find the prebiotics that actually have studies showing helps with skin hydration. Again, skin hydration, not bowel hydration, skin hydration. And there are also certain strains of probiotics that are actually showing improved hydration for the skin. And when we do that, then we're maybe more likely. So probiotics are a hot topic. I think they're growing about 10% year over year. So probiotics are hot with the consumer. You can combine a probiotic maybe with a collagen peptide, maybe some ceramides. You're getting hydration. You're going to get a whole bunch of other things, as we'll see as we go through this presentation. I know I'm getting long-winded, and I did warn Sonia ahead of time that this would probably fill the full 30 minutes. So let's talk about ceramides. First thing I want to say about ceramides is that ceramides by themselves don't necessarily mean they're going to get into your body and do what you want them to do. Ceramides are something your body naturally produces, okay? But that doesn't necessarily mean that any ceramide that you get from nature is going to work for skin. So when we're looking at buying ceramides to formulate for success, make sure your ceramide actually has research to show that it does anything that we claim ceramides do. I know it sounds logical. Some people may say, dude, you're being way too sarcastic. Get back into your own skin. No, reality says like ceramides are a buzzword. I see the commercials on TV, mostly topical, but ceramides internally are something your body naturally produces. So we can see ceramides are fats or lipids, and they're found in skin cells. They make up 30 to 40% of our outer layer of skin, or the epidermis. They're critical for the integrity. The integrity is critical for maintaining skin permeability and guaranteeing hydration. You guys can read slides. I hate reading them. So you guys have probably read them already, so it's not worth it. But we can see that ceramides play a very important role in skin. Going back to my point, I really want to drive home. Just because somebody's selling a ceramide and the consumer knows it's a ceramide doesn't necessarily mean that ceramide does diddly squat for your beauty from within product. So please keep that in mind. Because at the end of the day, if you're formulating with somebody's ceramide because it hits your price point and it has a really sexy name, but it has no clinical substantiation, you are formulating for not success, which is affecting all of us in our industry of natural health and healing, because the product's not going to work. And the consumer's going to end up becoming disenchanted with going natural, and they're going to want to go back to their chemical stuff from modern medicine. So collagen 101. So collagen as a whole entity, it's protein, okay? And collagen really to be effective for skin health needs to be broken down or cut into little pieces. Earlier I talked about peptides. That's what we're talking about. And that's what your body will absorb and then reconnect to make your skin cells healthy. So you can see it's found in bone, cartilage, tendons, and skin. It helps skin cells adhere to each other. So that's why we get the strength in your skin, elasticity. That's why, like, when you get older, elasticity goes. So you see people maybe with more like saggy looks. I have a hereditary double chin. I could weigh 120 pounds, not 175 like I do now. I'd still have a double chin. That's hereditary. That's not because I'm lacking collagen or I've got a reduced elasticity. When I get more droopy, saggy skin, that's what we're talking about here. And we can see this can improve elasticity, reduce the fine lines and wrinkles, increase blood flow to the skin, which is important. You're trying to drive these nutrients to where the skin is grown, and that's how we do it. And collagen will play an important role in that. And of course, we can decrease the roughness, get rid of that elephant look we saw in the previous slide, and improve overall hydration. Not a miracle, but I can say collagen, if it's cut up in the right spot, you get by the collagen that actually has the clinical substantiation. You're going to start out formulating for success here as well, just like I talked about with ceramides. And last but not least, hyaluronic acid, HA. This is found in the fluid of the eyes, but also in the joints and skin. Its main function is to retain water in your tissue, i.e. lubricate and moisturize. So we're going back to that elephant skin thing. Hyaluronic acid plays a really important role in reduction of those fine lines and wrinkles, decreasing dry skin, reducing roughness. I've always had rough skin. I am currently not an HA consumer. I can tell you that I will soon become an HA consumer, and honestly wish I had started back in my 30s. But I don't even think I could have gotten HA back in my 30s. So, but anyway, hyaluronic acid, another. And these three things, these three ingredients really do bode well together. Or if I'm formulating for success, I would maybe consider using two of them together. I talked about earlier in my my tree image, talking about the gut-skin axis. We can see an altered microbiome causes an altered immune response, and you're like, dude, this is a skin health thing. The altered immune response actually will trigger more inflammation. You're more likely to develop acne, etc. So there are a lot of health conditions where if the immune system's out of whack, that is a contributing underlying factor for why that condition develops. Poor gut health leads to our previous slide of nutrient depletions, increases the amount of toxins, could actually cause increase in allergies or sensitivities that will trigger skin conditions. Eczema is a great example of that, and then trigger hormone imbalances. So, and those types of things will lead to skin diseases, which I know I said I wasn't going to mention diseases specifically, but definitely poor gut health will lead to the D words. It will significantly improve or increase your signs of aging. I just bought a new probiotic today. I don't know what it is, man. I think it's me turning 60 next year. I know I've got like another 11 months to go, but it's sort of messing with my head a little bit. 30 didn't bother me, 40, 50, but whatever, that 6 is just really messing with me. Redness in your skin is also contributed to this poor microbiome. So people that have, reddening of the skin, maybe even more severe cases like rosacea are linked to gut health, and then overall skin sensitivities, which I talked about earlier. And the solution is pretty simple. Pick a biotic. How about that? We're talking pre, pro, post, and symbiotic. They all play a role. Again, make sure you're picking the prebiotic, probiotic, postbiotic, symbiotic that actually has the research with regards to skin health. Just don't willy-nilly go, oh, let's just use Lactobacillus acidophilus and not realize that, oh, that's not really going to do as much for skin health. There are some really amazing probiotics out there that have skin health studies. And regretfully, I did not, well, not really regretfully, I left the names of those out. It was just going to become a cluster of craziness for me, and I didn't want to go down that road today. Last but not least, I wanted to talk about stress. I know a lot of times people don't think about necessarily adding ingredients for stress to a lot of their formulations, but there is a direct connection between prolonged periods of stress and skin health. We can see the two primary reasons are generating more oxidative stress, which was our first slide. It also activates that HPA axis. If you're not familiar with HPA, hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis. When we activate that, we get immune dysregulation, which I just talked about with regards to why, a messed up immune system can trigger skin health. Actually, in this case, dysregulation doesn't necessarily mean suppression. In some cases, dysregulation is overactivation. And in that case, we get the more severe conditions like psoriasis is a hyperactive immune system, or that is what is triggering psoriasis to happen. So dysregulation doesn't necessarily mean weakening. It could be overstimulating as well, triggering more inflammation. I talked about that earlier, which can contribute to redness, blotchiness, acne, pore issues, etc. Increased vasodilation. So again, getting into that redness, maybe flushing, etc. And then we see this increase in activation of the glucocorticoids, which impact the immune response and negatively impact collagen type 1 and type 2. I'm sorry, collagen 1 and 3, and proteoglycans and elastin. So we can see that prolonged periods of stress. So perhaps considering incorporating one of the many, and I'm not going to cover those ingredients today, one of the many positively substantiated ingredients for stress into your Beauty from Within product would bode well. Hey, you could also turn if you pick the right ingredient, you could actually, I just had this idea, you could turn your Beauty from Within product into experiential Beauty from Within. So I can feel it working. It's going to calm me down, maybe keep me more chill, maybe a little bit more focused, whatever it is. But if it's having a positive effect on stress, we can see that over time, not today, not tomorrow necessarily, but down the road, we're gonna hopefully see some more improved results. That's one of the reasons I think like this is a cluster for teens. They tend to be a lot more stressed out, and their hormones are out of whack, et cetera. And that's probably why there's like a lot more skin issues in our youth than there are in a 59-year-old dude. Excuse me, I was sick last week, and I had no voice. So the fact that I'm coughing, I apologize. It's not COVID. I did test myself. That's how I was feeling. Last but not least, I'd be remiss if I didn't give you some clues on formulating for success. So let's pick the topics for oxidative stress. Maybe a colorful fruit extract. I talked about that earlier. You get the colorful fruit extract. Fruits and colorful fruits are high in antioxidants. So we're dealing with oxidative stress. Probably covering some of that nutrient depletion part I talked about earlier, or diet. Maybe astaxanthin, the red orange complex, but addressing oxidative stress. And then combining it with, omega-3s or the key vitamins and minerals that address the nutritional component of this, maybe some collagen peptides, addressing hydration head on, either ceramides, collagen, or HA. Again, man, it'd be really cool if you could successfully formulate therapeutic doses of all of those, or 2 to 3 into your product. You're getting a multi-pronged approach to addressing hydration, fine lines and wrinkles, blah, blah, blah. You get that idea. Microbiome, why not start considering, a pre and probiotic at least into this? Postbiotics, there's some good research coming out. Symbiotics, I'm not sold on yet. Don't bust on me if you're in that market. Send me your research and you might turn me into a huge fan. Right now, I feel it's sketchy still. I feel it's a great theory, but reality might be a little bit different. And then last but not least, addressing some of those other miscellaneous things. There are other conditions, which I didn't talk about on my beneath the surface slide, but things like, if, you're formulating a product for people with blood sugar, maybe a Beauty from Within ingredient goes into that, because or you're trying to support thyroid, or a stress formula or sleep formula, maybe considering adding one of these other types of areas into your formulation to capture a much broader audience and provide benefit at the same time. So, ideally it'd be cool to mix and match from all of these. And then if you could perhaps do, like I said earlier, make it fun, maybe make a functional food or a beverage, something that fits into someone's everyday lifestyle, would really bode well for, again, formulating a successful product. And it looks like, Sonia, I gave you a couple of minutes, which I'm surprised. I want to thank everybody for this opportunity. And Sonia, I hope you have the date and my topic. I know it's joint health. I just can't remember the
I
date.
do. I was going to say there are some questions that we're not going to be able to have time for, because it's almost at the end. And I want you to be able to answer them, to the best of your ability. So chime in there. But yes, the next Health Condition Corner will be on August 2nd, everyone. And that will be joint health and maintenance, I believe. Is it?
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. That's a wrap. Thanks, David, again for sharing your time and expertise. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. Take care.